Gary King again for TF-XCite with the fourth series of Connecticut recaps. This one coming off of all the league meets and going into previews for all 12 races coming up on Saturday for the Class State Championships. And say it's been a great year. We've had pretty good weather, especially on the Saturdays and all, and some great performances. And these recounting of what we think is going to possibly happen in the on Saturday are all based on the speed ratings, mainly built around the league meets, but also including a lot of checking up on what's happened earlier in the year, especially at the big out-of-state meets where a lot of Connecticut kids did really well, calling out, Quinn Kilkenny recently with the 177 speed rating at Manhattan. Sam Leone has been doing it all year. 180 at Woods Trail, 184 at Ocean State. Lauren Parrott also at Woods Trail, 132. And Chase has been killing it. Chase Gilbert, 139 at Ocean State. I don't know what she would have gotten for the Shoreline League Championship. I'm putting it somewhere in the 140s, 143, I think. But yeah, there's been a lot of great performances this year. And again, speed ratings are about the only thing you can base cross-country projections on, unless you have a magical dartboard like I guess some cross-country pundits do. But the speed ratings are all based on the aggregate performances of all the runners out there and comparisons of what they've done against each other. Each second in a 5K race amounts to a point. You know, it takes into consideration that, you know, you can see that some performances probably went down for whatever reasons, maybe injuries, maybe because we're just taking it easy this week. And I saw that with some of the league meets, some teams expected to do a little higher performance, and you know, they were obviously maybe holding back a little bit, I think, considering what they've done before to get ready for the what's more important to them, I guess, is the Class State Championships coming up. So take into consideration all these things, and speed ratings are not always going to, you know, come out as you would project them. Obviously, you know, runners can go way down, they can go way up. For instance, last year, looking at performances from the CCC State Championship, League Championship, comparing them to what happened later in the various class races. So, you know, it's the speed ratings, the times are fairly close. It was like a little bit of a drop off. Some guys went way up. One of them won a state championship in a class, and a few other guys went a little further back. But you know, it's not, you're not locked in at that. Every week is every race is a new race, is a different race. Looking at the teams, 4 teams look likely to repeat this year, as we'll be going on later. HK on both sides in Class SS there. Adam Kellingworth looks like they have a pretty clear shot at it. New Canaan looks, they have a gap between themselves and the rest of the teams in Class L, and they just, of course, came off their 29-year drought in the FCHEC to get the championship, so they'll be quite confident. And I think Mercy in girls MM looks pretty strong too. The rest Oh, and of course, Xavier has gone down on the boys' side from Class L to Class MM, so they are in line for a possible championship, but it would have to be in a battle with East Lyme. So one of those two teams is very likely to win the MM championship, but they both can't. So there's that opens up a spot in Class L for sure. Only one of the teams from last year looks like they will have very little chance, and that's Rocky Hill. They had their top guy come back, Brian Smith, from last year, but they lost the other six guys on their top seven to graduation. So they're a little ways back this year. But the rest of the teams, they're in a battle at least for a class state championship this year. And some of them are a little bit on the favorite side there. As far as the guys, only two of last year's guys champs are back, and only one of them can win a state championship because Tyson LaBelle is up in Class M this year. He won SS last year, but he's up in M with Brian Smith of Rocky Hill, the one guy from Rocky Hill who was back, and so the two of them will battle for a crown. So only one of last year's individual champs on the boys' side can be a champ this year. But five of the last year's girls' champs are back. Everyone but Brooke Strauss of Glastonbury and LL are back. The only one, though, that is very, very, very extremely likely to win is Chase Gilbert in Class S. She has some competition from Hazel DeLucia, but she is expected to still be running well out in front. The other individual champs from last year are in a battle, so we'll see. And some of them are leading teams that will be in a battle. So, and at least one of them, I think one of them has a teammate that may be her main competition. So, anyways, on to the overall 22 teams go to the Open. And on the boys' side, we have a list of what we think is about the top 22 teams based on the speed ratings. I think the vast majority of these teams will end up going to the Open. Only a maximum of 19 can, though, because only one of these teams is from the smaller S, in this case, SS class, and those two classes they each get two teams, so going to the Open. A lot of these teams will be, of course, fighting for at-large spots. There's 8 of the teams are from the LL class, 5 from L, 7 from MM. Oh, and none of them are from M. So okay. So make that a maximum of. Oh wait a minute. No, we do have one from M. Measured. Okay. So it's a maximum of 18 of the teams on this list can go on to the Open, but I'm sure most of them will. Yeah, Greenwich is at the top. They also have a much better compression. That's a number in parentheses, and that generally helps at least at the top. At the bottom, tends to kind of reverse itself, and it's better to have a much bigger compression or a wider ranging team. But Greenwich and East Lyme and Xavier. Now Xavier has an incredible compression of 8. That is very, very tight. They have a big pack this year, so that could make a big difference. If you look at these numbers, probably they would be expected to beat East Lyme in the Open. But we won't talk too much about the Open because that's still to come. And this is just for the class meets at this point. But so As you can see here, ranges from about 166.2 to 145.2 for one of our new upstart teams this year, Rockville, maybe replacing Rocky Hill from last year in a sense, with the Rocks anyways. Yeah, coming up in MM there. Yeah, and MM is a really tough class this year with Xavier going down, and so that should be a great battle, and I wouldn't be surprised to see a lot of teams getting at large spots there too. Over on the girls' side, it's nice how the girls are just so organized here. There's 6 from LL, 6 from L, 4 from M, 2 from M, 2 from SS, and 2 from S here. So yeah, all 22 of these teams listed here could go to the Open, based on that. But yeah, they range from Greenwich and Glastonbury and Mercy at the top. Greenwich and Glastonbury will be going at it. From these numbers, you would expect Glastonbury would have the advantage with the tighter compression there. But we'll see. Greenwich was the LL champ last year. Mercy looking very strong. I mean, they will be certainly up there for possible Open title going on, but yeah, a good strong group this year, and we'll see how it goes, but hopefully good weather. So I'm going to run through the boys first for each class, starting with we'll start from the top with the biggest. Class LL, last year Ridgefield had a decided advantage over Danbury there. Magnus Manley of Ridgefield was the champ, and of course he's not back, so no repeat champ there. This year Greenwich again ended their almost half-century drought in the F-check, and so they're looking very strong. Good compression of 15 there, 166.2 and 15. Staples, who finished second there in the F-check, looks strong. 2 behind them, both with good speed ratings, good compression. So they'll be battling it out again. Ridgefield, they have a history of course, of coming on very strong in the late season. They lost a lot of their top guys, including Magnus, from last year. So who knows? They, again, pretty good compression. And Glastonbury was the top LL team over in the CCC, and yeah, incredible compression of 8. I mean, that is yeah, that's they have quite a pack together. It's a question of where is that pack going to be in the LL race. If it's a little too far back, it may not help them much. Hamden is, has a couple of strong guys up at the top, and so, they'll be in it. But yeah, they do have the big compression there. Southington, then there's Danbury and Trumbull. Looks like the top 8 teams that will be battling it out in the LL. And yeah, at the top, Alex Medina of Hamden, he was second in the SEC race, and he'll be up there among the leaders with Ryan Newcomb, who won the F-check championship for Greenwich, and Aiden Nelson for Ridgefield. He was 5th at the F-checks, and yeah, and then just a lot of different. Staples is kind of hard to figure at this point. They have guys shifting all over the place. So maybe Harrison is a top guy. I don't know. Oliver Samuel is sometimes. I don't know what's going on there, but yeah, those are the guys and teams for LL. For L, of course, last year's Xavier beat out New Canaan by, again, a fair amount, 40 points, and Bethel well back in third. And Sayed Dissa of Newtown, of course, has gone on, was a top runner in Connecticut last year. And so this year with Xavier going down to MM, it's opens up the battle for a lot of teams here. But Amity has looked very strong. They really pushed Xavier. There was a time there at the SEC championship when it looked like they might pull the upset, and but they did very well, coming in second there, and with a 163.8 and a decent compression of 31. They look like the favorites there. But New Canaan and Newtown, well, Newtown, especially with with a much better compression of 17, looks pretty strong. Fairfield Ward has some top guys at the top there, but yeah, they need some more at the back there as they have a very big compression. And Hall is always going to give a battle there too. So top guys, look, Cushing could be one of the top guys in the state open this year, but we'll talk about that next week. And he is one of the top favorites here, along with Quinn Kilkenny, New Canaan's new senior this year, who was put up a lot of great speed ratings. So Quinn could it could well come down to between Luke and Quinn, but the Ward guys, Kushel and Shunk, they were there chasing Newcomb of Greenwich at the end there in the F-check, so they'll be up there. And Evan Griffiths of Amity has come on very strong this year, new guy coming up, so he'll be there to support Cushing. And yeah, so good stuff coming up there. Boys MM, well, here's where it gets really interesting, because yeah, East Lyme, again, easy winner. Most of the teams last year on the boys' side, class state champions, there was one or two except, but most of them were fairly large winners, including East Lyme, 21 points last year. E.O. Smith in second, Avon well back. Sean McCauley of East Lyme was the winner, so they lost him. But East Lyme is again very strong. But now they have Xavier coming down with them, and Xavier may have a slightly smaller speed rating. It's hard to tell. They're pretty much even, but it's Xavier's pack. Compression of 8 is just fantastic, and East Lyme's is much bigger. They have, of course, their top guy Sam Leone there, but yeah, that's a pretty big compression. So they're going to need to pull things a little tighter in if Xavier puts on their usual pack performance, where it's just one X guy coming over the line after another at a certain point in the race, and it's usually very high up. E.O. Smith, is good battle too. Certainly looking strong for an open possibility. Pomperog, we've seen them take last in a race recently, but yeah, no, when they come to run, they have been very good. So I expect them to be, probably going on to states, to the Open, and they'll be there with Guilford, Rockville, Avon. They're all in there. Avon has a pretty huge compression there, 52. That's not really what you want, but they'll all be battling for the be in the top 5 in the MM. Top guy Sam Leone has just looked incredible this year. He's gone out of state and put up big speed ratings, so he will be certainly among the favorites when we get to the Open. Alex Cook of E.O. Smith, Landon Wall of Brookfield, Jack Faish of Eel of East Lyme there, and Brom Below of Avon, all in the 170s. And then comes the Xavier pack, and it's hard to, they've been bouncing around so much, except for Nolan O'Connor usually is the top guy for them. He's got about a 169 speed rating there, but the guys behind him can all be interchangeable, but they have enough of them, like 6 other guys, that they will all be up there and all. So going over to Class M, last year it was Rocky Hill, but again, and with Weston Ledger in second and third, but again, Rocky Hill, they do have Brian Smith back, but they lost the other 6 guys of the top 7 last year. So they're a ways back, and Ledyard has really come up. They have most of their guys back from last year. So they will be the favorites there. And Ellington looks like it'll probably be the second best. Tolland and Griswold aren't too far back, but they do have very big compressions. So Ledyard not only has the best speed rating, but they have the best compression too. So they will be fairly big favorites there, I think. And here's the battle for the individual champs. Tyson LaBelle winning SS last year for Griswold. He's up at 180. So Brian Smith of Rocky Hill will have his work cut out trying to battle that. Brian Smith, of course, being the M champ last year. And other guys, Jake Veguiard of Tolland and Ashton Mulder of Ellington and Jake Lorenz of Weston being up there too, battling at the top. So should be good stuff coming from them. And then the S classes. SS. Adam Kellingworth was the winner last year by, again, a fairly substantial margin over over Griswold of Tyson LaBelle and all. And Cromwell was third, and Tyson LaBelle, now up in Class M, was the champ here last year. On the class side, yeah, Adam Kellingworth looks definitely like probably the biggest favorite among the boys teams. They 151.2 speed rating, but again, like Xavier, the Adam Kellingworth guys seem to be all over the place, bouncing around, and I don't know. I mean, anybody can win for that team. I think they probably had like 4 or 5 different guys leading the way this year. But yeah, they have and because of that, they have a very small compression again of that fantastic 8. And Bacon Academy, also from the Shoreline League there, yes, the next best. But again, Bacon Academy and Lakeview, pretty close battle there. It looks like almost identical numbers, but with a fairly big compression there. And so that could mean East Hampton could come up to grab the second qualifying spot for the Open with compression of only 21 there. So and over replacing Tyson, who was the top guy. Joseph DeLuise of Oxford, new guy there, 175, has a decided advantage this year, I think, although it's kind of hard to nail down exactly where Benjamin Siljan is of Lakeview. So that could be fairly close. Again, with these smaller teams that they never get speed ratings and they don't always run that many races, it's kind of hard to tell exactly what the numbers are, but just a comparison with Ben seemed to be that he was probably about 168, and a few other guys in there, Gavin Barron, Bowden Paul, Patrick Monahan, and then you throw in all the HK guys, and yeah, anywhere usually in the 150s for them. Then finally, Class S is, well, last year it was Bolton. They had 51, and this was the great battle, Bolton and Hale Ray, because Hale Ray had beaten Bolton by quite a bit at the Wickham Park invite, which occurred in late September last year, so it was very different from this year's Wickham Park invite, which came much later and also didn't have that many of the top teams from around the region who reviewing the course. Last year, of course, the New England Championship was there. So Bolton and Hale Ray with Portland way back last year. Shepard Livingston of Bolton He was a senior, being the champ. This year, Thomaston has really come up, and they have the best compression and the best speed ratings, so they look like the favorites for the title. But if Immaculate is certainly close enough. Pretty similar speed rating. Compression is not as good, so. But if they get more of a pack in there, they could be. And then there's Bolton, the last year's champs. Lost, some guys there, but they're still in the hunt, and not too far back. So, and then the great battle here is between the twins, the Burke twins, Portland seniors this year, Brecken and Hayden. Speed ratings, they're up there, somewhere in the 160s. It's, again, kind of hard to tell because, again, no speed rated races, but that's the best guess. Dominic Lombardo of Bolton, this year's Bolton's leader, looks like he could be up around there. Lorenzo Lopes of Immaculate could well be in there too. So that wraps up the boys, and looking for some great battles this year, and we'll see. Going on to the girls' side, girls LL. Well, Greenwich was the winner last year over Glastonbury, 82 to 93, with Staples not too far behind, 107, of course. And they went to the Open, and it was reversed with Glastonbury taking the Open championship over Greenwich. So, it doesn't necessarily mean winning the LL that you're on the girls' side that you're going to be the Open champ, although it's happened twice in the last 4 years, ever since COVID times, that has happened. Once for Greenwich in 22, and once for Glastonbury in 22, and once for Greenwich in 23. But there's always a decent chance of that, and they look to be among the top teams. Putting Glastonbury ahead of Greenwich, even though the speed rating isn't maybe quite as high, because the compression is well better at this point. But then again, class championships are where you get the team pack coming together, and anything can happen here. But it's basically just a complete toss-up here. But numbers might be a little bit in Glastonbury's favor. Staples is not too far behind either, but again, pretty big compression. Pretty high number for the compression. So, and other teams, Ridgefield, Trumbull, Darien, Southington, and South Windsor, all in the hunt for at least an open spot. South Windsor, with Sophia there, has a gigantic 99 compression value, which again, it's not what you really need for a team, but it shows just how good she is. Over on the individual side, it's a battle between Lauren and Sophie again. The two now sophomores. Lauren was actually leading the team in a sense at certain points last year, more in track actually, when Brooke would bow out of something and Lauren has really taken over, and she has been putting up huge numbers this year. I guess it was Woods Trail where she had like a 132 or something. So putting at about 133, Sophie at Pasalaco at Greenwich 132. So those two are likely battling for the championship there. Sarah Bogdan of Staples will keep them in view, along with Svea Holovatska of South Windsor. Those four should certainly be in the top 5, I think, for sure. Angelina Regari of Ridgefield, and Avery Coulter of Staples, Eliana Daplin of Greenwich, all up there with newcomer Stephanie Sanborn of Shelton, all over the 100 mark, and Carolyn Camp and Livia Mackay. So it's going to be a good battle this year, and but I think any class winner in this race will really be thinking more again about the Open, being the Open champ. So getting on to Class L, well, New Canaan, yeah, F-Check champions after 29-year lapse. They won the Class L last year with 93 points. New Milford, not that far behind at 120, and Simsbury at 144. So yeah, New Canaan is, I think, bigger favorites this year. They have a lot of runners back, and newcomer. I'm guessing that Sienna's sister Bridget was on the team last year, but Sienna's taken over this year for New Canaan and for Class L. So, but anyways, yeah, New Canaan 98.8 and 33 compression, and good. Cheshire always in the hunt, and they're looking to move up from last year's. I think it was like a fourth or fifth place last year, and they have good compression there. So they are a good likelihood for for one of the two spots there, the second spot maybe for Class LL. And then a lot of these teams will earn at-large spots too. New Milford, Amity, Fairfield Ward, Wilton Hall, Simsbury, Wethersfield, Windsor, and Newton. They, the compressions are pretty huge for some of these teams. Like for Windsor there with behind Maya Donzella. So we'll see. But yeah, on the individual battle, Sienna Decanter, New Canaan 117, Lisa Smalls of New Milford. Yeah. Last year's winner out. Oh yeah, we didn't mention Alexandra Morgan was the winner here last year. Yeah, Fairfield Ward. Spellman won the F-Check championship, and then Morgan took the Class State championship. But yeah, Alexandra Morgan. I think she's kind of coming back from what I've been able to see earlier in the year. She was kind of back. Well back in the results, but she's been coming on strong, so she could be busting out for another repeat championship again. Georgina Harrington, new for New Canaan, could put on a show too as a young'un coming off, and Maya Donzella of Windsor and Morgan Eltrich of Fairfield Ward. Yeah, Fairfield Ward again has some top runners there. It's the problem always is the back of the pack there, or the back of the team, and so anyways, that's pretty much it. Alexa Nunez of Wethersfield, Clarice of Amity, Emily D'Souza of Cheshire, and Skylar Quigley of New Milford, all very possibly in the top 10 to 12 there. Over on the MM side, Mercy Me. The champion last year, 37 points, had a 50-point edge over Avon and Pomperog. And Sarah Roberts was the winner. They look, again, pretty good for the title. The odd thing here is the East Lyme team behind him. A girls team with a compression of 8 is just unheard of. It makes you wonder about exactly how this East Lyme team is formed. I mean, that is just incredible. It's just where that pack is going to come in. They're well behind Mercy in the speed ratings, but with a pack like that, who knows if they can get that pack up before the Mercy's 4th and 5th runners. Who knows what could happen? But Guilford and Pomperog has really come up this year. And so they could all certainly be battling for at-large spots and all. A little further back, maybe Woodstock Academy, St. Joseph, and Avon. Last year's winner for Mercy was Sarah Roberts, and but Cora wasn't too far behind. Cora Wozniak was second last year, and she will be the favorite. But never count out the vets either. So Cora's a sophomore now. Sarah's in her senior year, so those two are looking like they'll be running together at the top with Madeline Mariani of Pomperog and Amelia Langevin of Woodstock Academy, Maggie Littler, Ledger in there, and then Mercy has Ruby Caselius up there too. With Olivia Jackson, Anna Sofia Montero, Kendall Montalbana, and Anna Conan leading that EL pack, East Line pack. That'll be interesting. And talk about interesting, Class M. My gosh. New Fairfield has been, the champ for a while now, wherever they are. I think they might have been in SS at one point, but 63 points last year to beat out Sacred Heart by a good bit, and Nanawag in third there. Katie McMorrow of New Fairfield won her first state championship there and will be going for a second this year. But here is New Fairfield lost the pennies, Ripley and Rose last year. And it looked like they wouldn't be having too much of an issue because they still have five, they still have McMorrow and Hannah Greco at the top, but they haven't really been able to fill out the back of the lineup. So they have a gigantic compression of 97. So even though they have the best speed rating, I'm thinking that Daniel Hand, even with Daniel Hand's pretty big compression too of 67, that's not exactly where you want it either. But then again, when you have NSC Leaks at the top, you're going to have a big one like that. So I think Hand might be the favorite here. It all comes down to how many runners get put in behind the final runners for New Fairfield, and when in a big meet like this, that could be a lot. So Ram has looked very, very good this year, and they'll come up, and who knows, maybe they could grab an open spot. Nanawag's in there, Sacred Heart Academy as always, Tolland and Ellington up there. Battle at the top, Katie will be facing Anna C this year. And Anna C. Leaks, 123. She's come in third in her freshman year, second in her sophomore year, second in her junior year. So she's hoping to make that a 1 this year. But she and Katie are expected to battle at the top. Anna C. Leaks and Katie McMorrow. Behind them, Rebecca Longley of Tolland has had a great year, 110. And then there's Hannah Greco of New Fairfield, giving more strength to the Rebels at the top. But the question is, what happens after? Abigail Winslow of Weston, looking very strong, 101. Leanna Markovich, Ellie Ballard, Leah Zeng, Eleanor Chamberlain, and Madeline Garguilo there, all looking for top 10 to 12 spots. Then we go to the S's, Class SS. Well, that's the one that probably doesn't have as much drama on either side this year, but we'll see. Adam Killingworth won with 34 points last year over East Hampton and Bacon Academy a ways back. Jocelyn Gustafson of East Hampton was the individual champ. Adam Killingworth was well ahead in the Shoreline. This is basically a battle of the Shoreline League again. But the Shoreline race was kind of busted apart by Chase Gilbert in a way down to Class S because uh, there was a lot of girls going out at the beginning of the race trying to run with Chase, and I'm sure trying to just be in the presence of glory there was one of the inspirations. But I think they paid for it in the end, and the speed ratings for them for a lot of these ones who went out a little way too hard, I think, were not reflective of what we had seen earlier in the year. So this could actually be closer, but Adam Killingworth just takes care of business. They didn't seem to be affected by the Chase's crushing of the course and meet and all record. So they're, conservatively 80.2. Again, we haven't really seen a full out HK crush them effort yet, so that could be higher. They have a decent compression. Cromwell seems to have a even closer compression, not too far behind, but we'll see. East Hampton and Bacon Academy and Holy Cross are a little further back. This year, Charlotte Benke of Adam Killingworth has really come on, so she's looking like possibly the favorite, although Molly Musselman has done very well, especially a little earlier in the year for Stonington. Any of like 5 or 6 girls could win this race. Julia Downing of Adam Killingworth is up there. Grace Mitchell up there for HK. And last year's winner, Jocelyn Gustafson. Taylor Mooney can look very good at time. But yeah, speaking of someone chasing Chase, yeah, that was especially Taylor. So yeah, she could be up for a big advance on the speed rating we see here. Lily Moore, Seymour, Sophia Alonso of Holy Cross, Riley Hubert of Griswold, and Callie DeLuise. Okay, we've seen her brother's name in there before for Oxford 79. And finally, there's Class S, which is again one shaping up for a lot of drama here. Last year there was drama as Lyman Memorial just beat out Hale Ray by 74 to 79 for the team title. Shephog Valley coming in third at 109. Chase Gilbert won her third Class S championship. She's now won 4 Shorelines, and I'm pretty sure she's on the way to getting another win here in Class S, although of course there's Hazel. There's not much depth in Class S this year. I couldn't even really find 5 teams to put out there, but 2 of them should have a great battle. Shephog Valley finished 3rd last year, speed rating of 70.4 and a compression of 43. Those are better than Lyman Memorial's. Memorial needs to have some help, get some push at the back there. I would think Shephog Valley would have the advantage here, but we'll see. Heart of a championship of a lion, whatever. Lyman Memorial has been known over the years to make a big charge at state, so this should be a good one though. Lime Old Lime, Chase finally again since her freshman year. Last 2 years have not really had much of a team behind her, but this year, it's certainly decent enough to get up for maybe a 3rd place or so. Yes, obviously gigantic compression there. I don't know, 150 is probably an understatement of that, but Wheeler, they've been shown some nice results this year. And over the individual side, yeah, Chase Gilbert 143. Hazel, well, she's it's been saddled with having to run behind Chase, but that's there's a advantage to be running with the running in the glory days too. So Hazel looks very strong for 2nd a high place at States again or the Open again this year. Others in there, Lily Cassini will be leading the Sheppard Valley effort, and yeah, she's looking good. Sarah Evans, whose Hail Ray team came close last year, looks like she'll be up there, and Elise Overmar of Wheeler, Adriana Rocco of Thomaston, Majesty, also backing Chase on the Laugh Out Loud team, the Lime Old Lime, and Dahlia Livingston. I think we have a brother from the past there. From Bolton, Sylvie Hiltz, Lime Memorial, and finally Molly Sedito of Sheppard Valley, helping to her team's effort there. So should be great times at Wickham Park on Saturday there from beginning to end. And remember, if it does turn out by some weird chance to be a very hot day and you get the rubber legs, just stay down and make sure the ambulances don't get called in. Okay,